We don't have favorite teams at Idaho Sports. We love everybody the same. But there are teams that I feel for. And one of those teams I feel for is Homedale.
State of Ada? That's fake news, my friend.
Why he won that tournament the day they lost in the first round last year.
From the big boys in the SIC to the 1A wonders in the long pin, the Treasure Valley Prepcast has all of your District 3 athletics covered.
You go in the gym at Parma, and there's a couple banners for other sports, and then there's a ton of tennis banners all over.
It's the Treasure Valley Prepcast with Logan Green on IdahoSports.com. That's right. Welcome into Season 4. There it is. Episode 1 of the Treasure Valley Prepcast, where we're talking all things District 3 high school athletics, week in, week out in the great state of Idaho. My name is Brandon Baney, but really the guy you want to hear from is the guy you heard from in the intro. It's our Treasure Valley resident and expert, Logan Green. LG, what's up?
Hey, Brandon. I don't know about expert, and I don't know if everybody wants to hear from us, but they have to, right? If they want to hear the stuff, they have to listen to us.
That's right. Well, after a long, not really long, short off season of the summer, here we are. It's August, and we are back into the regular swing of things.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we talked earlier in the day, and I think you had said something like, it's July 30th. I thought it was like June 15th. And that's kind of how I feel. I mean, a month ago, the Idaho Bowl, I feel like that was yesterday that we covered here on Idaho Sports, and that was over a month ago. That was on June 29th. It's now July 30th. And I'm like, where did that month go? And it seems like this always happens, right? We're always like, oh my gosh, school's about to start. And then we're like, oh my gosh, how are we at state baseball and softball? And so that rat race just continues. And here we are kicking things off before the fall season.
Yeah, summer vacation. What summer vacation? You and I have been working like dogs all summer long, right?
Yeah, my vacation that I took this year was to go to Oregon to help with those Oregon All-State games. That was my summer road trip so far.
Yeah, good times for sure. So here we are. This is the Treasure Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, where we will hop on every week or pretty much every week throughout the school year, from now until the end of May, basically. And we are going to talk about the biggest storylines that are happening in Treasure Valley high school athletics week in, week out. There's a number of ways you can take in this podcast each and every week. You can watch. A lot of you are watching right now on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Twitter account. You can also listen to this podcast at IdahoSports.com. Across the top of the homepage, there's a little tab that says Prepcasts. From there, there's a drop-down menu. You click on Treasure Valley Prepcast, and you can listen to all of our episodes right there. You can also listen to this on your favorite podcast app simply by subscribing and downloading the Treasure Valley Prepcast on your favorite podcast catcher, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, etc. So a lot of different ways you can consume this content. And Logan, we always start a new season by kind of reintroducing ourselves to the audience, because we may pick up new people that are discovering the Treasure Valley Prepcast for the first time. So Logan, go ahead and take it away. We're both Idaho transplants. You're from a little further south than I am.
Yeah, so I'm originally from North Carolina and moved to Idaho for college. Married a girl that has lots of Idaho family, so we stayed. Well, here we are. There was a brief hiatus for like a year and a half back to North Carolina, but other than that, we've been here in Idaho. I mean, I've been here in Idaho for the better part of almost 14 years now. I've lived in East Idaho, I've lived in North Idaho, and now I live in the Treasure Valley. So I've lived in all three regions. I guess I'm Central Idaho and the Magic Valley. I guess I haven't lived in. So if you really want to get technical, but I live in Middleton. So if I say things on the Prepcast that are, if you might hear, well, gosh, he says a lot about Middleton more than others. It's because I live here. So I am, privy to some information that might come my way just from knowing people that are in the athletic program there more so than other locations, just because I know kids that play there and things like that, but it's not a biased thing. And yeah, I love all things sports, college sports, professional sports, whatever. So it's a natural fit to be here at Idaho Sports. and love Friday nights, right, Brandon, going to covering games. I think that's kind of why I got involved with Idaho Sports to begin with, was I wanted to get involved with broadcasting games, and it's kind of evolved into that. And also I do all of the advertising here at Idaho Sports. So if you have a business that wants to advertise with us here on IdahoSports.com, don't forget, you can email me. You see my email address is down there if you're watching the video, or if you're listening to it, it's just Logan at IdahoSports.com. We can get you set up for that. But anytime you hear from a sponsor on a Prepcast, a broadcast on the website, whatever, kind of make sure that that's all flowing and going as it should. So that's a little bit about me in that aspect, and looking forward to another season. This will be, let's see, so I've completed 5 seasons with Idaho Sports. So the 2019 season, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. So this will be year 6. That's crazy. So this would be my 6th. I've completed 5. This will be the start of football season 6 here with Idaho Sports. And I mean, I like, it's funny because I see kids that are in college or whatever, seniors in high school, and I'm like, that kid graduated. Like we've seen, that's one thing that I think is my favorite about this, is we see kids that are freshmen, right? Especially at some of the smaller schools, that work their way up, and then they're leading a team their senior year. Right. And like, I remember specifically, Brandon, I know this isn't Treasure Valley, but at Dietrich, one of the power kids, I think it was Cody, was a great athlete there at Dietrich for years. And I remember him, his freshman year at state basketball, just was getting in as a freshman, just this little tiny kid coming in big situation, hit a couple big shots. And then seeing him grow to being the starting quarterback his senior year, helping lead the team that, they won a state football championship a couple years later, just lots of different things. It's just fun to have seen a kid go from just getting in a little bit shaky at a state tournament to dominating and winning state championships and being involved in all the aspects. And I love seeing that with all athletes at all schools. It's just a ton of fun to see where kids start and where they end, and seeing them go from, the shy freshman to the dominating senior. And I love that about Idaho so much, that you see that quite a bit, and looking forward to seeing more athletes continue in that role this season.
Yep. It's going to be year number 4 for me. I too am a big sports fan. You of course are diehard North Carolina State, Carolina Hurricanes, Carolina Panthers. You're wearing your Charlotte Hornets t-shirt right now.
Yeah, I'm no bandwagon here. I love them all, even though they suck. But hey, this was my year. You can see my NC State ACC tournament here on the wall. That was a ton of, I think that might've been the most fun I've ever had as a sports fan, was this year watching that. But I did get my degree from University of Idaho. So I really enjoy the Vandals, and I know I'm Treasure Valley Prepcast, but that's who I am, Vandals fan here. The last couple of years with Jason Eck, that has been a ton of fun. Watching the Vandals just essentially in a resurgent state where they're actually good, right? And fun to watch, and just the emotion. It just seems like there's so much emotion there that wasn't there for years, just in the team and the culture and everything. So just, a little bit about me and my likes, but I'm happy to be here and happy to continue on and covering these great kids here in Idaho.
Yep, for sure. In terms of the Treasure Valley Prepcast, year number 4, we'll talk about some of the favorite stories we've covered over our time here. Real quick, my bio. Hi, I'm Brandon Baney. I'm the content guy at IdahoSports.com. I actually live in North Idaho. Before that, I lived in East Idaho over in Pocatello for like 5 years. Prior to that, I lived in Wyoming. That's where I met my wife. I lived in Nebraska previously. I've lived in Montana. That's where I was born and raised. I got my start in radio, Logan. I did it all. I was a news director. I obviously did sports and play-by-play. I had a morning show. Hey, Taylor Swift, that's her new hit single. I did contests. Had to go. Hey, I'm broadcasting from XYZ Chevrolet, and I mean, I did it all. And I was like, man, I really like the sports part. How do I just do that?
Just do that. Yeah.
Right. And luckily, this job opened up, and now here we are. So yeah, it's nice having somebody in the Treasure Valley that can help balance out my state of Ada bias, as I jokingly referred to in the intro. So yeah.
Yeah, that's when you go somewhere else. Oh, you have a 1A or a 2C plate. People don't, outside of those two counties, I have a 2C plate, and people don't even like that in the one in Ada County. But yeah, it's us against everybody else. So us Treasure Valley Prepcast people, we gotta stick together here.
Yep, for sure. Okay, well, let's talk about in the 4 years we've been doing this, what are some of the favorite things that we've covered? That's the goal every week, is to bring you the top stories that are happening in Treasure Valley athletics, whether it's 6A, Meridian and Mountain View battled, or if it's the smaller schools. Melba did something noteworthy, or Notice, or Parma, or Victory Charter, or no matter what it is. And so here's where we'll give the PSA. If you are tuning into the Treasure Valley Prepcast and there is a story, an athlete, a coach, a team, something that isn't getting the spotlight like you think it deserves, send us an email, Brandon@IdahoSports.com, Logan@IdahoSports.com, and we'll make sure we, especially in the spring, Logan, we started doing deep dives into teams, and we were getting lots of good suggestions from the fans. I really liked that. So
no, we learned. I mean, just one that we talked about in our deep dive. I think we did one on Bora softball, did we not? Where we talked about them as a team and what they had done, and they weren't definitely on anybody's high-end radar, but they were on I'm not claiming it. They were on Brandon's radar, where Brandon was really high on them. They go into the state tournament as a 7 seed and win the whole thing. So it was kind of fun to have been able to talk about them a little bit on the show, and then see them go and win a state championship. So that's always fun. Looking forward to talking more about teams like that, and it's fun to really analyze a team, right? And you get to learn more about them and who they are, who their some of their star athletes are, what has their journey been like this season. It's pretty fun to analyze just like that, because a lot of these, maybe some of the bigger 5A schools are getting that coverage on other media outlets, but a lot of the schools, even here in the Treasure Valley, I think people think it's all Boise, right? It's all Boise and Meridian, but it's really not. There's so many great schools, Homedale, Parma, Weiser, Garden Valley, McCall Donnelly, Melba, that are also doing great things that aren't getting that coverage. And so we want to be able to spotlight them so that everybody knows about all the great things going on in the area.
Yeah, you just mentioned McCall Donnelly. That made me think of the the quadruplets from McCall Donnelly, the Arnolds, right? There's 3 boys and 1 girl. They're all entering their senior year. It's been fun to watch them all compete over the past couple of years. Parma tennis is always fun to talk about in the spring. Bora softball, of course, this past year. We have been around for the very beginning and the blossoming of Hawaii as a school and an athletics program as well. So there's a lot of exciting, noteworthy things we've been able to witness over the 3 years at the Treasure Valley Prepcast.
Yeah. And, I mentioned some of those athletes. I think, one of a great runs that we saw in the Treasure Valley was a couple years ago when the Garden Valley basketball team went and won a state championship, and I got to go up and broadcast a couple of Garden Valley games. For the couple years before that, you could tell they were just building something, and then and then they go and they get it done. Covey Kelly was there, so that, you talked about the quadruplets there at McCall Donnelly, but it's really fun to see when these siblings come through, right? How many Kellys have there been at Garden Valley that we've got to cover over the years, right? And it's just like they don't stop. They keep coming, and they keep being key pieces to the puzzle, right? And so it's just really fun to see that side of it too, to know them more than just a name on a piece of paper, but like, no, I know this kid. I know his brother. I know what happens. I know how he helped their team win a state championship, things like that. Like, just lots of great fun stories. I mean, about that team, I think it was the Gillespie kid. His parents had told him if he got like an alley-oop in a game or something like that, he'd get a car for his birthday. Just small little stories like that we get to learn about, right? That we get to know what's going on in these programs. I think about the this year for baseball at state baseball, getting to see Parma. Parma's baseball team had been years since they went to a state tournament. And what do? They come away with some hardware. They lose on the first day, and then they get it done on days 2 and 3. Like, who would have expected that? Just a lot of fun to see that from them. Just so many good stories here in the Treasure Valley that need to be brought to light.
Yep, for sure. And so that's what we're all about here. Each week, or roughly every week, Logan and I will sit down and dissect the big stories that happened from the week that was in the Treasure Valley, right here on the Treasure Valley Prepcast. And again, we're always looking for great story ideas. You can email either one of us, Brandon at IdahoSports.com or Logan at IdahoSports.com. In the meantime, Logan, as we get back into the regular swing of things, we are getting back into the swing of things on our website, IdahoSports.com as well. We, of course, have our statewide football previews, a written, detailed preview for every high school football team in the state of Idaho. It's a big undertaking we do every year. We're adding more and more previews every day to that page. You can, if you don't see your favorite team yet, keep checking. They'll be in soon enough. We've got all the schedules up now at IdahoSports.com, volleyball, football, boys and girls soccer as well. And we are doing our off-season top 10 lists, breaking down position by position, the top 10 players to keep an eye on in Idaho football this year.
Yeah, I saw what the linebackers, was that the one that went out today? I think it's right there on the homepage. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, do we have any Treasure Valley? Yeah, I see.
Oh, yeah.
We see Quinn Hood, great multi-sport athlete at Fruitland, right? He was part of the baseball team as well, but he's on the list. We've got Nampa Christian and Skyview, Owyhee, lots of great athletes locally that are on this list. So be sure to check that out and check out all the other ones that maybe you missed while you were on summer vacation or at the lake for 4th of July or camping where you have no Wi-Fi service.
Right. Yeah. Luke Steinmeier from Marcine is going to be a guy to keep an eye on this year. Two of the more high profile recruits, period, in the state of Idaho this year. Defensive end Shepard Fish from Capital. He committed to your Idaho Vandals. And of course, in Middleton, where you live, Logan, Big Dallin Grimes, the offensive tackle, committed to BSU, Boise State.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great, he's a big dude. He's so like, I actually, I go to the same church building as him, not the same congregation. And I see him walking around sometimes and I'm like, they look different when they're on the field, right? When you see them down on the field, but I'm running to him and I'm like, that's a big dude right there. It's a big guy. And so, there's just so many great athletes that have come out of the Treasure Valley as well over the last couple of years. And sports in Idaho couldn't be any better than it's been lately. And just looking forward. There's a number of other players that are entertaining offers, and it'll be fun to see where some of these kids end up.
Yep, for sure. So that's what's going on at IdahoSports.com. And of course, soon we'll have games and results and all sorts of good things to talk about as well. So keep it locked in here to the Treasure Valley Prepcast. Here we go. Season 4 off and running. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. For Logan Green, I'm Brandon Baney. We'll see you here next time for another edition of the Treasure Valley Prepcast on Idaho Sports.